right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the June 8th meeting of the Franklin Historic Zoning Commission. I'd like to call the meeting to order at this time. Our first item here is citizen comment. This is open for citizens to be heard on any issue or concern. If you'd like to speak on a specific item on the agenda, please wait until the citizen comment period for that item. For all citizen comments, please fill out the speaker card and hand it to staff folks right over here. The cards are on this round table to my right, your left. Come up to the microphone, state your name and address, and try to limit your comments to 2 minutes. Are there any citizens who would like to speak to the commission at this time for a non-agenda item? Okay, seeing none. Let's go to agenda item 1, which is the minutes from last month. I would entertain a motion to approve those May 11th, 2026 minutes.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Angela. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, let's vote. All those in favor of approval of the May 11th, 2026 minutes, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Unanimous. Thank you. Okay, item number 2, consideration of window replacement at 108 Cottage Lane. Patricia Grossland is the applicant. If you'd like to step up, we're going to hear from staff first, and then we'll hear from you, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The property at 108 Cottage Lane is located within the Boyd Mill Avenue Historic District. The building was constructed in the 2010s, and the proposal is to replace all of the windows on the building. The use of a vinyl-clad window appears appropriate within this context, as the Vandalia Cottages are a new subdivision within the fringes of the Boyd Mill Avenue Historic District. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the application with conditions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is it Ms. Grossland? How are you? Do you have anything to add other than what staff told us? Nothing? Okay. If you'll grab a seat for us, please. Thank you very much. All right. Are there any citizens who want to comment on this application? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to the commission for a motion, please.
I would move to approve the staff comments.
Okay, Mary, is there a second?
Second.
Angela, thank you. Any discussion? Nothing? Ready to vote? Okay, the motion on the floor is for approval with staff conditions. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, the ayes have it unanimously. Thank you very much. All right, moving on. Item number 3. Consideration of driveway alterations at 900 Fair Street. Stephen Scott is the applicant. Mr. Scott, if you want to come on up, and we'll hear from Emily on the staff report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The property at 900 Fair Street is located in the Hinchyville National Register Historic District and is a contributing building within the district. The proposal includes the replacement of the existing asphalt driveways with concrete driveways. The proposed alteration aligns with the guidelines and is appropriate. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the application with conditions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Scott, welcome back.
Thank you.
Anything you want to add?
I know that picture of the front of the house is no longer accurate, but that's, we're getting there on that arch.
Good.
For the concrete, it's in quite the state of disrepair, and we've decided, hopefully, with your approval, to just change that out to concrete throughout. Just a standard broom finish concrete, as you see there in that example picture that's showing right now. So I'll be glad to answer any questions if you have them. Otherwise,
Okay.
I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
Okay, thank you very much. If you'll grab a seat, please. Are there any citizens who want to speak to this item? Okay, seeing none, let's go to the commission for a motion, please.
Move for approval with staff conditions.
Okay, thank you, Michael.
And I'll second.
Brian, thank you. Any discussion? Okay, hearing none, let's vote. Motion on the floor is for approval with staff conditions. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, the ayes have it unanimously. Thank you very much. Item number 4, consideration of site alterations. Alteration to a previously approved driveway alteration at 309 4th Avenue South. Michael Desmond is the applicant. If you want to come on up and get ready, Ms. Huffer has our staff report.
The property located at 309 4th Avenue South is located in the downtown Franklin National Register Historic District. The site features a circa 1905 two-story frame residential building. The proposal includes a request for an alteration to the approved driveway design to utilize a ribbon Hollywood strip design with plant materials in the cut sections of the driveway. The use of a ribbon or Hollywood driveway is seen throughout the district and is appropriate. Staff recommends approval with conditions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Desmond,
Yes.
welcome. Anything to add, sir?
Let's see. First of all, 25-year homeowner of the property. Appreciate all the work that you guys do preserving downtown Franklin. When we worked on the project, I'll try and be real quick here. I was looking at my driveway when it was demoed, and I looked at my backyard. I can see them both at the same time. And 4 or 5 years ago, we took about 250 square feet of concrete out of our backyard to make it greener. My wife is a master gardener, and green is good. And then I looked at my driveway, and I thought, I'm about to put a big blob of concrete here. Is there something creative I can do? So I went for a quick walk. And as, I don't know if the photos show, there's quite a number of homes in the historic overlay that have ribbon driveways. I think they look good. I think it complements the whole streetscape concept in Franklin. So anyway, I appreciate your support of the project.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, any citizens here want to comment on this item? Okay, seeing none, let's go to the commission for a motion, please.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve with staff conditions.
Okay,
I'll second.
thank you, Madeline. Any discussion? Talkative bunch.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
agree with the applicant's wife that green is good.
And
Thank you.
as someone that lives in the floodplain, I agree as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good stuff.
yep, okay. All right, we have a motion on the floor for approval with staff conditions. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you very much. Item number 5 was withdrawn by the applicant, so we'll go to item number 6, and I will recuse myself from this one as I'm involved with this, so I'll be back. Don't forget to come get me like I forget to come get you all sometimes.
All right, for the record, my name is Brian Lastert. I am the vice chair, so I'm filling in for our chair who's recused himself on this item. Number 6, which is a consideration of principal building alterations and site alterations at 908 West Main Street. So Emily, I think this one's yours.
Yes, it is. So, the property at 908 West Main, locally known as Mapledine, is located in the Hinchyville National Register Historic District and is considered a contributing 1881 building. The proposal includes roof alterations, repainting areas that are currently painted, repairing and replacing deteriorated wood elements, replacement of a square pilaster to the front of the building, replacement of ceiling fans and light fixtures, replacement of K-style gutters, and replacement of a fountain. The guidelines support maintaining the existing building and its features and would consider most of the proposal to be maintenance and in-kind replacement of the elements. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the proposal with conditions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Would you state your name for the board and the record?
Sir, name's Hunter Conley with Allard Wood Architects, 1618 16th Avenue South,
And
Nashville.
Hunter, do you have something to add?
I don't have anything further to add. We accept staff's recommendation as read. I did just want to say we're really excited to work on this house, to have the opportunity to preserve it and extend its life. It's been in the community now for almost 150 years. I know the Lloyds are excited, and we hope the work we're doing is just going to preserve and extend its life. So with that said, I'd like to thank staff and the commission for your time this afternoon, and we're here for questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any citizens who wish to comment on this application? So now we'd like to entertain a motion from the board and discussion.
Move for approval with staff conditions.
Thank you, Michael.
Second.
Thank you, Angela. All right, any discussion on this application? All right, none. Seeing no discussion, are we ready?
Well, we will have to say that we're thrilled the work's being done.
And
Yes.
it looks, these
Yes,
alterations look great
yes.
and in keeping with guidelines.
I agree.
Yeah. And very excited to see this house get the love it needs. It's wonderful.
Definitely. All right, ready to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion carries. So we can go get Tyler now, someone.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Mr. Laster. All right, let's move on to item number 7, please. Consideration of alterations of walkway, driveway, lighting, and fencing at 424 South Margin Street. Hudson Walker, come on up if you will, sir. And Ms. Huffer's going to have our staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The property located at 424 South Margin Street is located in the downtown Franklin Historic District and is considered a contributing circa 1930 Tudor Revival building. The proposal includes the following: replacement of the existing driveway, replacement of the walkway, installation of a rear patio, installation of rear fencing, and installation of new lighting. For the rear fencing, there is a photo included, and the proposed fence appears to align with the guidelines recommendation for fencing, but information on the height and material of the fence shall be confirmed. And then for the lighting that is proposed, it's proposed to replace the fixture on the front of the building and install a new fixture on the rear of the building. The front light fixture was previously an electric fixture and is proposed to be replaced with a gas fixture. The rear light fixture is proposed to be an electric fixture. The guidelines recommend the following for light fixtures: that if new lights are needed, use simple fixtures that are appropriate to the scale and period of the house and constructed of historically prevalent materials. New fixtures should be placed in traditional locations. The proposed fixture styles are simple and appropriate. The front light fixture is 24 inches in height, which appears to be a large fixture for the location above the door. The fixture size should be minimized to align with the guidelines recommendation. Additionally, the use of gas for the front fixture is not consistent with the period of the house, as electricity would have been the available material for lighting. Staff recommends approval of the application with conditions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Walker.
Yes, well, first, thanks for your consideration of these things. Is it okay to have it as a gas fixture? If we go down
I think you have to make your case, and then we're going to discuss it and vote.
Okay, well,
Yes,
one
sir.
case is that in the block around 424 South Margin Street and the adjacent blocks, there are 6 other houses with gas light fixtures. And I'm not so sure that the source of the fuel to provide the light is that important into the age of the house. They might have had, plenty of old houses would have had, could have had gas light fixtures or coal oil or kerosene or something like that. So
Okay.
we think it provides to the ambiance of the house from the street view. And if you would like us to scale it down, if you could go back to that one slide, we would be happy to replace it with a 21-inch tall light fixture, which is the next size down. And then, are there any other issues? The driveway's okay to replace that with top cast concrete for the design review committee? And the fence would be 36 to 40 inches tall above finished grade.
Okay. Let's have you have a seat. We'll have any community members want to speak to this particular item? Okay, I don't see anyone. All right, let's go to the commission for a motion. And we can break it up. If somebody wants to make a motion on a particular thing, we can do it that way too.
I'll make a motion to approve with staff comments, except for the use of gas.
So-
And
So you're saying they would
that
be
it
able to
could-
use
that
gas?
it could be gas, and the reason I'm saying that is I don't see that as something that couldn't easily be reversed. I don't see it as affecting it being a contributing property or being negative to the district.
Okay. So the motion would read approval with staff comments except recommendation number 2, which is that it shall be electric, not gas. Okay. All right, Mary made that motion. Is there a
And I
second to
think-
that?
I think, yeah, that brings the size of the fixture back to staff.
Yes.
Second.
Okay, thank you. All right, any discussion here on this? Brian?
Do we need to make an amendment about the size of the fixture?
It just says on here that it has to go back to staff.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
and
great.
that they would tell them what they feel like is most appropriate.
But any guidance
Sure.
from the commission on the proposed
Sure.
shrinking it to the 21-inch rather than the 24-inch
Well,
is
that's-
always welcomed.
That is what I was wondering, because it definitely, can you go back to that photo? I immediately thought that it looked a little large in scale. I don't know if 3 inches is going to be, I was
I
kind of
agree
wondering
with
if
you.
18,
I'm leaning towards 18.
but that's just suggestion, of course.
And my feedback would be, for this style house, this says that it's a, something, I can't remember, New Orleans style fixture. And I think there are actually probably some more exciting fixtures for this style house that would support the style of the house.
I'd also like,
Lantern fixture.
sure.
Yeah.
I'd
The
also
same.
like to know if it's, I didn't look close enough, but with the specs, if it's the fixture that's 23, or does that include the yoke of the
I think.
curl? Okay. It looks like that's, so A. No, it,
It is
24
33.
is without the curl.
Yep, that's right.
So it definitely needs to go down quite a bit.
Yeah, that's big.
I would, yeah, I don't mind the globe and fixture itself. I think the gooseneck is kind of adding to all the height and scale things. And, you know, if it were just a simple lantern with a sconce escutcheon, makes a little more sense.
I agree.
But, well, we do have the opportunity, we can amend this motion to include what we think we want. In the current motion on the floor, it has to come back to staff, and they've heard some feedback from us. So depending on if somebody wants to make a motion to push them towards something more specific, that's fine. But currently, the motion on the floor includes coming back to staff.
Yeah, I
So-
think that's good.
Brian, did you have something?
I do. I want to come back to our guidelines. I want to read this part of our guidelines. If new lights are needed, use simple fixtures that are appropriate to the scale and period of the house and constructed with historically prevalent materials. So our guideline says nothing about gas or electricity in this part of it. However, the intent of it is what I want to get to. And the intent's not really gas or electricity, but what was historically available and most likely used when that house was built. So Franklin does not get natural gas until 1957. So in 1930s, when this house had been built, or the 20s or 30s, gas was not available. And if you were building this type Tudor house in that time period, you would never go with gas. I mean, gas at that point was yesterday. Electricity was modern. And if you look at electrical catalogs of that period of time, you find these wonderful cast iron fixtures that are made for these Tudor revival style houses and the Craftsman style. And that is what would have been most historically appropriate, and it would have been electric. And I know we've had this discussion about, gas and electric, but I think the discussion really needs to go with the material and what is most appropriate for the age of that house. And, and that's why that's in our guidelines, and that's why staff recommended. And gas and electric, we need to kind of get away from the thought of that into what is historically appropriate. And, gas would not have been available when this house was built. So just want to bring that up.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair interpretation of that. I still don't think the light source makes a whole lot of difference to me. Like I said, and I think Mary put it, it really doesn't detract by having gas. It's usually not as much light. But in people in 1957 could have gotten gas on an old house. Things change. There's that change over time thing, which our guidelines also try to account for, so that we don't just always make everybody go back to, most of the time we can't prove that anything's anything. We're just going back to what we think it was. We know that this house was not built with gas because it wasn't, but it very well could have at some point, somebody could have changed it. And that's what happened to all the other houses that are in the district that the applicant has said, oh, well, there's 6 more on the block. It's like, well, at some point, somebody got gas. And I just don't believe that as people travel through the district, when they see gas, I don't think they go, well, that's not an old house. They've messed with the lantern. It's gas now. I don't think, now, I think they do go through and go, well, that lantern doesn't go with that house because of the shape of it or the
Or the
material.
material.
Yeah.
Or the scale.
Right.
There's
And
those
he's
things
saying
are.
cast iron
Yeah.
would have
Yeah.
been more prevalent.
Oh, absolutely.
So then,
Yeah.
is this one appropriate then, Brian, in your opinion?
In my opinion, it would not be. I think there are better choices. And, in our guidelines, we didn't even get historic zoning until about 1989. So a lot of houses that people say, well, in the district, we see other
Right.
gas fixtures. Well, before that, there were no guidelines. People were doing that. And then, I think this is something we need, if this is going to continue to come before us, it needs to be more defined in our guidelines
Yeah.
for it. But, since I've been on this board, I can't remember a time on the front of the house that we've approved a gas fixture, and we've had a lot of applicants ask for it. So, I'm just throwing that out. These are things we have to
But
consider.
to help the applicant, typically, these can come with or without the detailed bracket. They usually come in a zinc or iron finish, and you can do it gas or electric. So it's not that you have to completely veer away from your selection. You may just have to modify the details of it.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Mr. Chair, I think it is legal for us to send staff, share thoughts we have on a more appropriate fixture, and I just did that. So I just wanted to say to the applicant, I found a couple that I think underpin the style of the house that we're talking about.
Yeah, I think staff can share with them after the meeting, just things that might be more appropriate. Yeah, I think the scale here was the big thing that stands out. It's
For sure.
quite big. I think the gooseneck yoke thing adds to that, even though it just barely shows up in the picture, I think.
If
Yeah.
it becomes 33, it looks like there's only like 36 to 39 inches from the top of that key to the peak.
Yeah.
That's
I
taking
think
up the
something
whole
on a
space.
simple escutcheon
Right.
without the gooseneck and like that 18-inch would just fit,
And
scale to the house better.
possibly a darker finish.
Maybe.
Yeah. Brian, did you have something
Yeah,
else?
I'm just going to say this is what I consider to be one of the finest Tudors in Franklin. It's a great house. What they've been doing to it is wonderful. We've seen a lot, all the windows have been refurbished. This is a fine house. And I'm grateful to the applicant for the.
And they've
work they've
taken
done.
painstaking detail, attention to the details.
Yeah.
So this is an important one, and I'm glad you brought that up.
What are we
Anything?
Yeah, what are we voting on?
So the motion on the floor is for approval with staff comments, except for recommendation number 2, which would allow them to have gas.
Okay.
Anybody want to make any changes before we vote on that? Okay, let's take a vote. All those in favor of approval with staff comments except for recommendation number 2, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? No. Okay. So we've got the 5 yeses and Mr. Laster with the no vote. Okay, so that motion passes. I think that covered fencing, lighting, walkways, everything that was in the packet. So, thank you very much. Okay. I flipped my page the wrong way. All right, item number 8, consideration of building alterations, site alterations, and front yard fencing at 121 Miles Manor Court. Mr. Scott Cash is here. We're going to hear from Miss Elizabeth first, please.
Thank you. The property located at 121 Miles Manor Court is located in the Franklin Road Historic District. The site features a circa 1930 Tudor Revival influenced building, and the proposal includes a series of requests for the following items. Building alterations for the replacement and installation of gutters and downspouts, front and side door replacement, lighting, and porch materials. For site alterations, they include walkway and driveway material alterations and new pathways. And the final request is for front yard fencing. So the proposal includes a request to install new light fixtures on the front, side, and rear of the building. 4 different fixtures are proposed that feature a simple lantern design with dark bronze and copper finishes. A combination of gas and electric lanterns are proposed. The guidelines recommend the following for light fixtures. If new light fixtures are needed, use simple fixtures that are appropriate to the scale and period of the house and constructed of historically prevalent materials. New fixtures should be placed in traditional locations. The proposed fixtures are simple and appropriate. However, the use of gas is not consistent with the period of the house, and electricity would have been the available material for lighting. For the site alterations, one of the elements, it's proposed to replace the existing stamped concrete driveway with a Vanderbilt finished concrete with stone banding. The guidelines recommend to use durable materials that are historically typical for driveways, such as gravel, concrete, brick, and asphalt. The use of Vanderbilt finished concrete is appropriate. However, the use of stone banding on the driveway is not appropriate. Staff recommends approval of the application with conditions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Cash.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You guys are moving today. Very quick. I thought I was going to be late. Emily and Elizabeth have been amazing for the last many months, kind of helping us process all of these things we're bringing. That's, there's, I think, 6 or 7 different elements here. So I'm happy to speak to each one individually. And you tell me what since we have so many things, tell me the best path forward.
Why don't you go over your lighting, since there's several pieces there, and I think the recommendations for not for approval there, and then also speak to your driveway banding.
Great.
I think everything else they felt like fell within the guidelines fairly well. So if you'll talk to those specific 2 things, that would be helpful.
Sure, yeah. Based on our last 2 DRC meetings about lighting, that lantern on the top left is the one that we had submitted for both DRC meetings. It's 18 inches. We counted the bricks, like you suggested, Tyler, and felt like that was it was the closest size to what was previously there. So that's that front lantern above the arched opening. The one on the right there would be inside of the little porch that we have. You can't see it from the road. You only see it if you are walking inside of the, if we could see a picture. So it's right, up in there. We're trying to just get a flush mount that wouldn't detract from the front of the home. So we put that there. Then the other, can we go back to the lights? The bottom left would be on that side porch. It's replacing an electric fixture for an electric fixture that was very similar to that. That was just I think a Home Depot one that was put there in 2007. And then the bottom right would be for the rear of the home. And I think we said, 18 inches. We don't love oversized fixtures, and so 18 was, I think, one of the smallest we could get for back there. That felt appropriate when we looked at it with our designer and architect. So those are and I know just having seen the conversation about gas and electric, the proposal is for the front lantern to be gas, the one above the archway, and then the two rear ones on the new addition to the home would be gas as well, but the rest would be electric.
All right, let's cover the driveway, please.
Is the driveway was put there, again, in 2007, circa 2007, and they stamped it with, just a fake stamping that went on the driveway. That was prior to us owning the home. And so we, to be honest with you, we'd be fine to just do a standard concrete drive, Vanderbilt finished concrete driveway. We liked the banding potentially as a feature, whether it would be a stone banding or even a brick banding. But it's not of huge importance to us. We don't love the fake stamping that's there, and it, for many reasons. The nice thing, it does slow water down, and where we're positioned in the neighborhood is brutal for water runoff, so it's something our basement floods every single time there's a massive storm, so a couple times a year, so we're in the process of trying to mitigate that. So I'm a little bit apprehensive to just put, sheer concrete there, but don't know if that's actually going to cause any big difference or not. So that's why we had at least wanted to have that discussion, since it's currently there with banding, even though it's very much fake, so.
Okay. Anything else you want to cover for us before we ask for citizens here?
I don't believe so. Just to speak to the gas versus electric conversation, I know, we talked about that in both the DRC meetings. I would just say the guidelines they don't really define it, and the electricity, and even electricity is not a material, even though it's written as if it is a material. Electricity is a fuel source. It's a utility, and it would be great if the guidelines, because to be honest, I've spent more time than I care to back and forth on this, and if the guidelines could just say gas or electric, or be very specific with something like this, it would be helpful, I think, to citizens. I mean, I'm 20 hours into researching gas and electric at this point, and I don't want to spend that time. And so I think it's, going forward would be helpful just to know, hey, here's the option or the two options, and so that's we would really love to do gas and feel like it's based on the current 2022 guidelines, feel like it's a very clear read of those guidelines that they do not determine fuel source and utility. And if you did a chimney, a wood burning chimney, the smoke from a wood burning chimney is going to look vastly different from a gas burning chimney or a gas burning fireplace. It's a similar situation to me, so.
All right, thank you very much. If you'll grab a seat, let's hear from any citizens who want to comment. Okay, I don't see anyone. Let's go to the commission for a motion, please. Everybody's thinking there's a lot here.
Yeah.
Looks like we've got, on this, there's gutters, some door replacements, the lighting we've talked about, fencing and sidewalks, porches and driveway.
Could you split it up a little bit?
Yeah, let's do gutters and doors to start. How about that?
Move to approve, Mr. Chair,
Okay.
with
Second,
staff comments.
and I'll second that.
Thank you, Madeline. Any discussion? It was doors and gutters. Okay, let's take a vote on that. All those in favor of approval with staff conditions of the doors and gutters, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. So let's go to, make sure I understand these. Let's do fencing, porches, and driveway. I think all these fell within what staff considered good in the guidelines. Is that correct?
The fencing,
Except-
porches, and walkway did, the
The
driveway
driveway with the
material.
banding didn't. Okay, understood. And did you recommend approval of the driveway with the condition that the banding be gone, or not approval?
The condition was that the stone driveway banding not be used.
Okay, so, but you recommended approval of the driveway. Understood. Thank you very much. Okay, is there a motion for that?
I'll make a motion to approve the driveway with staff comments of no banding.
Okay. Do you want to do fencing and porches too, or just the
I
driveway
thought
for
we were
now?
just doing the driveway.
We can just
for
do
now.
driveway. Okay, so it's driveway with staff conditions, right? Okay, is there a second to that?
Second.
Okay, Michael, discussion on that.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions on it. So if I look at the existing photographs of the stamped concrete, aren't we seeing banding already as part of that drive? And I'm wondering how wide, is this drive wider than a normal drive? Do we know how wide it is?
There's a site plan with the fencing, but let's see if we can find that here. Doesn't exactly say.
It doesn't look like it.
No,
Maybe just at the front.
the same.
Mr. Cash, do you know how wide that is?
I would think it's pretty normal because my truck
It-
hit the edge when
It's
I would
close.
go down, so it's
It's like
pretty small.
12 or 14
Yeah, I
feet,
would think
something.
I wouldn't say 12, 14. I would think 12 at the most.
Okay.
Happy to measure though.
And
Okay.
I
Thank you.
Thank you.
think I'm right, Mr. Chair, it kind of tucks down.
It's
doesn't it?
downhill.
Yeah.
Yeah, it descends the whole, you can kind of see from that picture. It's probably a little steeper than it looks from that top picture there.
Okay.
I
Right.
agree. I'd like to I mean,
I think they're-
we see banding, right?
Yeah, but typically you don't see banding that wide. Oftentimes we just see an edging of like a granite block or something like that, but we don't really see the wide bands. But recently we've approved some like cobble edging, a single brick, not
Right.
something that looks like 3 or 4
On
bricks
the
wide or
margin.
blocks wide. Yeah.
And I know this isn't DRC, but we're open. I mean,
Okay.
So
we
what
love that.
what's the width of the banding being proposed?
Probably we would go more narrow than it currently is. I think it's too wide with the stamp
So they're like
banding.
16-ish, if those are brick size.
So we're talking 10 to 12 inches in what's being proposed? I mean, I don't know. I have no
Well-
idea.
Yeah, I think that's the inspiration picture.
That's just
And that's 2 bricks wide, which
To
is
his point,
16.
should we defer to DRC for that part?
Well, we can, if we feel like we know what it is, they might want an approval now. So, and we have a motion for driveway with staff conditions with a second. So we have an active motion, which
Yeah.
means I got to make you sit back down. Thank you. Um, But we have approved some cobblestone edge, but not necessarily bands.
The brick.
That's
Yeah,
right.
banding. And I think the applicant said he would be okay
Yeah.
with just a plain concrete driveway.
Sure.
Yes.
Which might actually look better too.
Yeah. I-
So could we make an amendment that those widths go back to staff?
Yeah, right now it's the motion is to approve it as concrete with staff conditions, which is just to remove the banding. So they just end up with a concrete driveway, if that's what we think is most appropriate.
I would amend my motion to the width to go back to staff for approval.
For banding?
For any edging or
Yeah.
any detail like that.
Yeah, yes. I mean, we've approved more of a stone-looking
Or
edge.
like a granite
Yeah,
edge
Yeah, it's like
on
a
it.
block, one
So-
brick.
I would be fine with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to make an amendment?
Yeah, I'll make an
Okay.
amendment to my motion to approve either with staff comments or the option to go back to staff for a narrow banding like has been approved. Not to exceed
Okay.
10 inches.
So this says, I wrote down, amend the main motion to go, to add So it says driveway with staff conditions, or go back to staff for a narrow edge banding. And is that fair? Did you want to put a number in there?
That's okay. I trust you.
Okay.
And they'll also approve the material being used.
Yes, yeah, they would.
Okay. I'll
Do
second.
we have a second for that? Okay.
I'll second.
So we have an amendment on the floor, made by Mary, second by Madeline, to amend the main motion by adding or go back to staff for narrow edge banding, which would allow them option to do no edge or an edge at staff's
And to.
approval.
From what Madeline said, and to, staff would approve the material.
Okay.
And just to clarify from staff's condition, the reason that the banding was recommended not to be used is because of the material, it being stone. So stone isn't a recommended material for driveways. So if that is a material that you would approve, I think we would need clarification on that.
Okay.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would think it would need to be a material that staff would approve. If stone's not an option, then it would be what they approve, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they would. Well, I think if we gave them guidance that it could be stone, then they could maybe approve that afterwards because we've already approved it.
And if it is, narrow piece of stone, not this much, so it's not coming into the driveway per se as much.
Yeah, all I've seen
It
us
makes a
approved
difference.
is just a single cobble about the size of a brick just on the edge lined up. That's it. I haven't seen that picture. We haven't approved anything like that. Not since I've been on here. There's
That.
yeah, that's cobblestone edging with concrete. We have approved that many places.
And that's edging, that's not really part of the driveway.
No, you don't drive on
Exactly.
it.
It's
So
on
that's
the
the difference
outside.
we're
It's
talking
like a
That's the
curb.
difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's what I think is most appropriate.
Agree.
But right now we have an amendment on the floor that it could go back for narrow edge banding, which could be that in the size and material. But that is the intent, is that it's
Yes.
like that, not a drivable band.
Right.
Is that enough guidance in the minutes? All right, so is there any other discussion on the amendment specifically? I have to add or go back to staff for narrow edge banding,
And material.
size and material. Bandings, size and material. Okay, let's vote on the amendment. All those in favor of the amendment to add or go back to staff for narrow edge banding, size and material, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, we're back to the main motion, which is to approve the driveway with staff conditions or go back to staff for narrow edge banding, size and material. Any discussion on that? Okay, let's take a vote. All those in favor of, I'm going to read it again. Approval of the driveway with staff conditions or go back to staff for narrow edge banding, size and material, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the ayes have that. All right, let's do, we've done doors and gutters. Fencing and sidewalks, please. If there's a motion for that, and I believe staff recommended approval for these.
I'll move to approve with staff conditions.
Okay,
Second.
thank you, Angela. Any discussion? None at all?
One discussion that I would bring up on the picture that's currently on the screen is that we see this curved sidewalk. And, most of the time when you would see our main streets in Franklin, you wouldn't see a curved sidewalk. It'd be straight from the road to the house. But to me, what makes this one different is that it's a long distance, and it needs that curvilinear shape to it.
I think it's there too, isn't it?
Is it there already?
Is that path there already? No, it's a new curve. Okay.
But
I think
it's
I've been thinking of the AI picture. I'm like, I've seen a picture of this thing somewhere.
Yeah.
Am I crazy?
Had
You're
pretty
crazy.
flowers. Yeah, I remember that.
But in this instance, I think that's appropriate for this location.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, let's take a vote. We have a motion on the floor for fencing and sidewalks to be approved with staff conditions. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. All right, let's go porches. We're heading our way back to lighting after this. Replacing this tile geometric flooring on the porch with brick. And I think staff was supportive of this as well because the guidelines support it.
So there's the material underneath that could be possibly historic is unknown. So the use of brick or concrete is commonly seen throughout the district. So the use of brick could be appropriate here.
Okay, understood. All right, do I have a motion for this
Move
porch?
Move to approve with staff conditions.
Second.
Okay. Angela and Madeline. All right, any discussion?
Just that it's a much better choice. And
Yeah.
you have those the brick columns too. I mean, to have that contrast is a much better choice for the district.
Okay, anybody else? All right, let's take a vote. We have a motion on the floor for approval of the porch paving with staff conditions. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. All right, and then I believe our last item our last sub-item here is lighting. And I believe staff is recommending approval, but with the front being electric. And I think they're proposing gas in the back, but those are supported as gas, is that?
No, the
No.
condition is for the light fixtures be electric and not utilize
All
gas.
of them. Okay, understood. Okay. All right, do we have a motion on that? Lighting. Stalemate.
Make a motion to move, to approve the lighting fixtures as submitted.
Michael. Approval as submitted. And going against staff's recommendation, if you'll give your rationale there, and then we'll see if we get a second.
Be it gas or electric, this needs to be a common for the general area, and the sizes and shapes as they have selected will add to the facade that they've chosen and all the improvements they've already made.
Okay. Is there a second to the motion to approve as submitted?
I'll second.
Okay, Angela. Okay. All right, any discussion?
Yes, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back I know a lot is thought and time has been spent researching this house from the roof to everything else about it. And I would just like to encourage the applicant, to look at historic fixtures for Tudor-style houses, even if you find one that's gas, that's in that style. I mean, and the same thing with the porch light. I mean, for a Tudor-style house, you normally wouldn't see a porch light that looked that way. I mean, there were wonderful cast iron porch light fixtures, and I'm just encouraged to do more research, to look into those, and you might make a choice that you like even better.
Understood.
I agree. I was kind of curious to understand better the different style selections used on the house, which I know we don't fully get into, but I agree with Brian.
Okay.
I would agree with what Brian said. These are missed opportunities for the style of the house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree that there are probably some that go better. I know there's some that go better with the style of the house, but we don't, aside from, well, our guidelines do say it should go with the period of the house. And, in this area, those would be atypical. The bottom left one is probably the closest, but not hanging from a chain. You might have gotten a sconce or something that was of that variety, but yeah.
Yeah, I kind of felt like that bottom left one. At first, when I first saw the page, I was like, oh, these are the options they're looking at. And then when I looked closer, I was like, oh, we're using all of these, okay. But I do feel like that bottom left one probably fits the best.
And they make something of that variety in cast iron, certainly, and different ones too. Yeah. Any other discussion? We do have a motion to approve as submitted, which are with these fixtures, including, I think there's 2 gas on the back and 1 on the front. So, no, sorry. I think that's correct, right? Okay. Any other discussion? We'll take a vote on that. Okay. Motion on the floor is for approval of the lighting package as submitted. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Let's take a little roll here. It was Michael, I heard you. Who else said aye?
I'll say aye.
Okay,
I said aye.
okay. Madeline. Brian? No. Okay. And? No. Mary? Okay, and I said aye. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 ayes, 2 noes, and the record will show who voted for those there. Okay. Did we catch everything there? We did doors.
Yes, that was in the first motion.
Doors and gutters were approved first. Brian and Madeline, first and second. So, okay, I think that's it. Thank you very much. All right. Item number 9, consideration of new construction, a principal structure at 1855 William Campbell Court, Lot 11, Magnolia Hall subdivision. Jennifer Ford is our applicant. And let's hear from staff first, please.
Thank you. The property located at 1855 William Campbell Court is located in the Boyd Mill Avenue Historic District and is part of the Magnolia Hall subdivision. The site is Lot 11 of the development and will be located at the end of the street with high visibility from Glass Lane and Highway 96 West. The proposal includes a request for the construction of a 1.5-story building with Queen Anne-inspired elements. The building features asymmetrical front-facing gables, dormer, a bay window, and a partial wraparound porch with a pediment and screened porch off of the front right corner. For the materials, the building consists of a brick and frame construction and features a stone foundation, scallop shingle siding with a 4-inch lap siding reveal, a shingle roof, and accent sanding seam metal roofing. The guidelines recommend the following 4 materials: to use brick, concrete, or stucco, or painted concrete blocks for the foundation. The materials of the porch, siding, and windows were not indicated within the application, but should be consistent with the recommendations of the guidelines and buildings that have been previously approved. The use of stone foundation is consistent with what has been approved on other buildings in the development. However, it is not recommended by the guidelines in the 2016 Historic District Design Guidelines, in which this project is vested. Staff recommends approval of the new construction with conditions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Ford, come on up.
I don't know that I have much of anything to add.
Nothing to add?
Yeah, I think.
Now, Elizabeth, you said something about stone foundations weren't recommended and those vested, but all the houses have stone
Yeah.
foundations in the, okay.
It's the
That's
same foundation as
just
we have
clarity
on
there, because I was like,
All the
did
other
we
ones.
approve something we shouldn't have? Okay. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think we picked up kind of the few little comments that we had at DRC. We
Okay.
adjusted that roof line on the left side, kind of per that discussion, but otherwise, it's pretty similar to what y'all have seen.
Okay.
So no real adjustments from
Understood. Okay, thank you very much. Any citizens want to comment on this particular item? Okay, seeing none, let's go to the commission for a motion, please.
Move to approve with staff comments, Mr.
Okay.
Chair.
Second.
Thank you, Michael. Any discussion? I'll say this has come a very, very long way. I have a couple little comments, and one of them's more of a question, because I don't know what it is. There's like a big louver vent thing on the side of one of the elevations here. I guess it's on the rear. What is that, Miss Ford? just decorative?
I think it will be an actual window.
Okay.
That shouldn't be shown as a window.
Okay. And then the other thing is, I'm assuming there's some stairwell windows there.
That is a stair.
Is there a reason that can't just be two taller double hungs and not a transom?
It could be, I think we're just looking at some precedents where typically if they wrote with the traditional, they did a different style of window, but I think we're totally open to
Okay. Okay.
that being double ones. I think we've had it that way before.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we have motion on the floor for approval of staff comments. Yeah, on the window thing that I brought up there, I don't know that it's visible to anybody. Maybe the neighbor, so I don't know that it's a big deal to me. It's just a peculiar geometry, but if they like it and it's hidden, then have at it. Okay. Any other comments? Did you have something?
Just to clarify, the first condition of approval is that the foundation consists of either brick, concrete, or stucco to align with the guidelines. So if you did want to go against that, an amendment would be made to be consistent with the
Okay.
remaining properties.
Okay, understood.
Mr. Chair, I move to amend the motion that a stone foundation is acceptable.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. All right, any discussion on that foundation? Okay, let's vote on it. So the amendment would add to allow for a stone foundation. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, so now we're back to the main motion, which is approval with staff comments and allowed to use a stone foundation. Any discussion there? Okay, let's vote. All those in favor of the motion to approve with staff comments and the allowance of the stone foundation, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. The ayes have it. Thank you very much. All right, item number 10. Consideration of partial demolition and addition on a principal structure and new construction accessory structures at 109 Everbright Avenue. Asher Paxton is the applicant. Or is the applicant here? No applicant? I think we have to just pass on it, don't we? Or not pass on it, but we just, we don't hear the item, correct?
Bill,
Bill, is that correct? Applicant's not here, we just don't hear the item?
do you defer it to the next?
That's probably best. I mean,
I think our bylaws require.
yeah, the written presentation includes them being there, so it's hard to go forward without them.
Okay.
Did we not hear from them before?
Well, they may have been trying to time it, because we've been moving pretty quick.
True.
There's no other items after this one.
No, I think this is it. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's go to staff comments, if they have any announcements, and then if they don't show up in the next however long it takes you to do that, then we'll make a motion to adjourn if we're ready for it.
The only announcement that we have is that next Monday is DRC, and it will begin at 4 o'clock, and the deadline to submit application is this evening by midnight.
Okay. Any other announcements?
Well, might as well.
Might as well burn some time.
Yeah, we give him a little bit more time. We've got
We can give them a couple minutes.
Juneteenth coming up on June 19th, and it will be at Bicentennial Park. And we've got a lot of exciting people coming, so we hope you all will be able to take advantage of stopping by.
What's that date again?
The 19th, June 19th.
Yep.
At Bicentennial, and I think it's from 10 till 4.
Good. And we've got another historic event is the Declaration of Independence reading on July 4th at the Williamson County Archives.
That's right.
We will have some fun going there.
And the Williamson Remembers
It's on the 20th,
event.
isn't
The
it?
20th, yeah.
20th.
So those who are interested, has nothing to do with zoning, but
But
come
it
on
did-
out. All right, nothing? Okay. Since our item 10 isn't there, if anybody wants to give us a motion to adjourn, or I'm,
that to the next scheduled meeting, or did it just go away?
I think it's because they're not here. Our bylaws say that they are automatically moved to the next agenda. But I think that's what it says. It's been a long time since I've read that wonderful document.
Does it help if we defer it, that action?
I don't think we're allowed to take any action on it
No,
if they're
but-
not here.
But we couldn't defer.
I don't think we can even
Okay.
defer because we can't take any action when they're not
It's
here.
automatically deferred.
That's correct.
The thing is, if you move to defer, you don't really have reasons to talk about.
Yeah,
Like
that's
you
right.
would when something presented.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Is there a motion to defer? Or, I mean, a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay. Is there a second? All right. Thank you. All those in favor of adjournment, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Thank you all very much.